All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to break the top player from bottom butterfly guard. Excuse me. Okay, so this is a continuation off of our last video. We're starting a new series about talking about how we can fatigue the top player. Okay, and let me just explain before we get into it. What we mean is, because I know there can be some confusion, right? You're like, okay, how, if you're playing guard, can you fatigue the top player, right? You don't have gravity on your side, right? It makes sense for the top player because they're putting their weight on you, making you bear their weight, and that's usually what fatigues people over time. Okay, but what we're talking about is making the top player work harder via building height with our hips and creating scrambles where we're getting a lot out of the top player. Okay, so I talked about in the last video that I think there's 3 guards where you can initiate and create these scrambles. Okay, I said the best ones would be, well, technically not a guard, but turtle position, the seated guard or seated butterfly, and then half guard. Okay, so today, because you guys asked in the comments, we're going to talk about butterfly. Okay, so again, the mindset from butterfly, right? How do I fatigue the top player? A lot of times when we're playing guard, we see the bottom player automatically roll to their back, right? Even if they were playing butterfly, they're trying to pull their partner in, constantly trying to pull their partner in. Okay, we're going to talk about doing the opposite. We're going to talk about using wrestle ups, like building height with our hips as our main priority in order to get the top player to engage with us. And when they engage with us, we're going to use that momentum, create scrambles to where hopefully we can come out on top. Okay, so let's explain. If we're playing a seated butterfly, there's really 3 situations. Okay, Nate's going to be standing. Okay, Nate's going to be standing. He's trying to outside pass. Okay, from this situation, you guys can refer back to our wrestle up videos. This is where if our opponent's standing, we're just wrestling up from this position. Okay, there's the body lock position where he's starting to put weight on us. Okay, and he's looking to body lock, put our back to the floor. And then there's when we're in butterfly, already back to the floor, pinned. Okay, so because we did a video on the wrestle ups, we're going to focus this video on, okay, when we're seated and our partner's engaging to try to get our back to the floor via like pressuring and body lock passing. And we're also going to talk about if we are already pinned on our back in butterfly guard, how to approach that position. Okay, so let's talk about seated butterfly. Our partner is going to pressure in. Okay, so usually I know Nate's going to start to shoot in to try to get my back to the floor. He's going to lower his stance. So if his butt's high, okay, I know that's outside. He's going to just try to run outside passing on me. But the moment he level changes, I need to take that, okay, and understand that he's going to use that to shoot in. So we have to have this lead hand ready. Okay, there's really 2 main ways I like to frame from here. Okay, the first way is just a basic collar tie frame. So if he shoots in, okay, I use my elbow here, like a collar tie, okay, against his collarbone. And as he pressures in, we're looking to build up to our hips here. That's always the main priority. So as he's pressuring, okay, I'm looking to build up to my hips. Okay, now this alone will create those scrambles we're talking about. Okay, either I'm able to build up fast enough and I can just get to a front headlock where I can go behind, get an easy sweep, or, okay, when I build up another reaction, okay, is Nate commits to a single leg to try to wrestle me down. Now from here, we turn this into a single leg battle, right? Grab my shin, start getting heavy, start sprawling on him. Now look at, okay, now I'm making Nate wrestle from an inferior position here, okay, where he's sprawled out, extended, okay, and I can look to create this battle where I come out on top. Again, using more energy than if he was just having that outside pass. So making him wrestle. Okay, another situation here. Okay, I build up. Okay, now from here, maybe I go overhook. Okay, now he's going to my hip. You see that? Maybe he's trying to go knee tap. Okay, whatever the case may be, I just focus on my base here. You can create a scramble depending on how much pressure they put in from this position. So if he's driving very aggressively, I could turn my knee down. I can turn this into a little Uchimata position where I hip toss, and then we start scrambling from here. Okay, I could also turn this into a butterfly sweep. So if he's pressuring in, maybe he tries to go knee tap, and I keep my base. I can trap his arms, sit, turn that into a butterfly sweep. Okay, again, very efficient because all I have to do is build my weight or my hips up. Nate is going to give me the momentum. Okay, because a lot of times the tiring part about playing guard, other than framing and bracing their weight, is trying to off balance. Okay, a lot of times that's where we eat up a lot of energy on bottom. So by building our hips, the top person has to engage. They have to give us energy, their momentum, and we just use that and deflect it. Okay, so let's talk about another situation. Okay, maybe I build up and then Nate disengages here. Okay, he disengages. Now from here, I can start closing in and look to butterfly sweep again. Okay, so I build up, he disengages. I can start attacking arm drags, rotating behind. Okay, now lastly, let's talk about the second frame. So that's all from the collar tie. Okay, let's talk about the second situation is where I cross body frame like this. Okay, so I would say I would use this more like in an MMA scenario, but it works really well in jiu-jitsu too. Like this is something you actually see Marcelo do a lot, like when people pass his guard to the side, and he would build up like this. Okay, but I like to use it from butterfly as well. So if Nate's pressuring, I'll cross body frame to get to his lat right here. Okay, as you guys can see, we're forcing another wrestling position where Nate has to try to tackle my legs down, but this is how I'm gonna leverage, okay, winning this position. So when I build up, I know I'm giving up access to my hips. So the way we create this scramble is I take this hand and we're gonna re-switch from here. Now from here, this is where you guys have to work, right? Nate's driving forward. Even if he gets me to a hip, I can start sitting out and come out on top. Okay, you can even do that. Okay, here, even if he goes single leg, even better. If he's single leg, okay, higher chance that you're gonna get that go behind. Okay, now there's also countless of scrambles. Now at that point, you're talking about a head outside single wrestling position, but this is what I'm talking about in this video, is finding ways from guard to create these positions. Again, he builds up, create these wrestling positions. Okay, I could even look to hook his leg and pass his leg around and start building up here. Create these scrambles that people aren't normally in or they don't normally see. Okay, so that's from the seated position. Let's talk about if our opponent pins us to the mat. So he does successfully body lock us here and we're flat like this. How do we leverage, okay, building height from here? Okay, so there's three situations. Either you're over under, you're double under, or they have double unders on you. Okay, best case scenario for us is if we have double underhooks, but highly unlikely we end up here from them body locking us. More likely it'll be over under. Okay, so from here, once we're in over under, our main goal is to get double underhooks. So Nate's trying to keep me pressured down. Okay, I know he's probably going to pass to his underhook side, or he's going to like to build up to all fours and try to step over, right? Like high step over my guard. Okay, float over the top here. Okay, he's going to try to pass somewhat in those directions. So if I'm pinned flat to the mat, right away, I want to bring my knees to my chest and extend out just to get a second underhook here. That's my only priority. Now, once I get to my second underhook, from here, I can leverage, okay, extending him out better. So here, knees to chest. I'm going to look to extend up. Okay, now, if I'm able to get back to the seated position, okay, if I'm able to get back here, okay, I'm going to rotate to the side. I'm going to start building height with my hips again. Now look at this position here. Okay, once again, Nate has to engage from here, but I have the underhook, right? So I can go back to front headlock. I can go back to butterfly sweep. Okay, and of course, if you guys have double underhooks and you're still flat, right, you can go underneath, go into the legs. But again, if we're trying to create these scrambles, you want to stay off your back as much as you can. So again, over under position, priorities to get to two underhooks. I'm going to use my knees, okay, knee pull and extend just to get a second underhook. Now extend up and now look to build my base. Right away, we got front headlock. If he's pressuring, I could chop the arm, resit, sweep from there. Okay, now let's talk about if our opponent has double underhooks on us here. Okay, this can be a hard one to get to. Okay, so again, ideally using those legs, this is the benefit of butterfly, because we can use our legs to lift, push, pull, and lift. Okay, again, I'm just creating space until I can slowly start pummeling one arm in. Okay, now obviously, if I get into the over-under position, we do the same thing like we talked about, try to get 2 underhooks. But what happens if you can't get that second underhook? Let's rotate this way. Okay. So what happens in a situation where you're like, all right, I just cannot get this second underhook. They're keeping that tight. Maybe his head's posted on the ground. So this is another thing I found very useful in my training in MMA. Okay, so now what I'll look to do is knee pull, but instead of trying to dig this left underhook, I'm going to take my right hand and reach across. So knee pull, I'm going to extend, and I'm just going to try to get this right hand here. Okay, now it's going to look awkward. It's going to look like I'm giving up the position, because I actually am. I'm actually conceding the pass in order to build to my knees easier. So look, as I build up, most of the time what you'll find is your partner's going to jump to the side, to Nate's left. He's going to jump over my legs. Now from here, I build up into this position here. Okay? Now from here, you can create a lot of fun scrambles once you build up to this position you guys see here. Okay? Sometimes I've even found positions where he keeps trying to jump towards my back, and I'll turn it into an arm throw where I'll jump over the top. That's if he's chasing my back. So let's try that again. So I can't get the second underhook. I need pull. I get here. Okay, I look to build. So especially if he's looking to jump, you can turn that into a little arm throw and jump over the top. Okay? Other situations that you can find from this position. So we build up here. Okay? Other situations is I can pull my arm all the way through. So I get my shoulder underneath his arm, and I start forcing a turtle position here. Okay, if I have his arm and I have his leg, I can do a forward roll and clear his hips, and then end up on top here. I can also, okay, if I'm here, I can just go all the way behind, turn this into a traditional turtle position where I could bump the hips, or if he latches onto me, okay, I can roll here. And lastly, you always have the option to go back. So here, extend, I can't get the second one, like I'm building up, okay? I always have the option here if I feel like I can't hook or I'm not getting momentum to throw. I can always cut this arm back, and now we're in the over-under position. Okay, so let me just recap everything so you guys can see the position as a whole. So whenever we get a chance, if we're playing guard, stay off of your back. This is for the case of, again, trying to fatigue the top player. Again, we always want to make them work harder. How do we make them work harder? We make them have to pin us first and then pass us second. Okay, so if they're always worried about pinning us, they can't focus on passing the guard. Okay, so make them work in that way. So I'm seated. He's standing up. Okay, we're wrestling from here. We're building height. We're wrestling. He's seated. He looks to pressure. We go into a collar tie frame. We go into all of our attacks. Or we go cross post frame, build up, look for the switch, or wrestle scrambles from the head outside single. Lastly, he gets us flat. We either look to build up to 2 underhooks, build our base here. Okay, over, under, same thing, build our base. And if we can't get the second underhook, we weave that arm through, we concede, and give them the pass so that we can build our hips up with like this arm drag grip here. All right, guys, hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully it just gives you guys a new perspective on guard. Again, I think we're just scratching the surface now with like high-level wrestling mixing in with jiu-jitsu, and I think there's more ways we can approach playing guard that are maybe very different or are different than the traditional, but it takes like looking at things through a different way, right? Not always having to go the conventional supine guard, right? Just because like rule sets favor those positions, right? So try it out. Let us know in the comments how it works for you guys. And as always, if you guys can, please like and subscribe to support our channel. All right, guys, thank you. We'll see you guys on the next one.